Battleship. Battleship's fun. I was actually working it last night. So basically, it's in one of our pools at the rec. There's 5 canoes, and inside these 5 canoes, there's 4 people with either buckets or shields, and 1 navigator swimming with the canoes. And the end goal is to sink other ships. So you have your 4 buckets. When the whistle blows, your navigator pushes you around, and you're just hucking water into other canoes.
Well, howdy, everyone. Howdy to y'all. Welcome to the new rendition, the Rec Sports edition of On Air with Student Affairs. I'm joined by some students today from Rec Sports, and I'm really excited to get to know them a little bit more. I've heard a lot of great things about y'all, and so before we get started, I will let y'all introduce yourselves, and we'll throw in some fun facts about Rec Sports at the end. Sound good?
Perfect.
Awesome. Go ahead.
You go first.
Howdy. My name is Jack Tichant. I'm a junior aerospace engineer. A bit about me on campus. I'm involved with, I'm the vice president of my men's org, PBE. I was the fish camp counselor this summer. And most importantly, I am a supervisor of Intramural Sports at the rec.
Nice.
Howdy, my name is Emma Allen. I am the president of the Texas A&M Polo Club, and I'm also the president of the Sport Club Association Executive Committee for the Rec Sport Clubs. Besides that, I have a little fun fact about the Texas A&M Polo Club.
Yeah.
So we have won in the last about 20 years, 18 national championships, including both our men's team and women's team won in 2025.
That's sick.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many championships Sport Clubs has won as a total?
Oh my gosh, I'm sure it's a large number.
I think it starts with a 400 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
I don't know it
not
off the top
surprise
of my
me.
head, but it's pretty high up there. So it's pretty cool.
Impressive. It's a
pretty
talented group of students,
yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. Jack, do you have a special fun fact about Intramural Sports?
I do. I think last year we had over 14,000 unique players, which is kind of crazy because a lot of universities don't even have 14,000 students. So the fact that we have 14,000 unique players playing our sports is pretty insane to me.
Fun fact, addition to that fun fact, it's the largest in the country. So our Intramural Sports program is one of the largest in the country, which is a pretty cool brag that you get to work for. So cool. Starting off, just both of you are involved in Rec Sports, obviously on the Sport Club side and the IM side. Walk me through kind of what that looks like for somebody new on campus to get involved either in the Polo Club or another club on campus, and then ultimately Intramural Sports. For a student who's coming into campus, maybe during Howdy Week, what does that look like for somebody to get involved with your clubs or sports or programs?
Yeah, absolutely. So specifically for the Polo Club, we always try to come to Recapalooza and have a presence there. And then also the MSC Open House, which was recently renamed Club Crawl. We try to go there when we can. And basically the way it works for us and most of the sport clubs is you don't have to have any experience coming in. So for myself personally, I joined the Texas A&M Polo Club my sophomore year. And I was actually sitting in an animal science 201 class, and my professor mentioned that the Polo Club was doing an open ride event where you can come out and ride the horses. So I came to open ride, rode the horses, fell in love, talked to the officers, and then the rest was history. I've been in the club since then. As far as recruitment for the Polo Club, we always we take our new members at the beginning of the semester. That being said, if we have open spots, we'll take people anytime. It kind of just depends. We'll have people that go to the Rec Sports website and go to the Sport Club section, and they'll find the Polo Club and be like, hey, I've ridden horses before, or I've always wanted to be involved with horses. And then they can reach out to the officer team from there and kind of see what's available, if we have any events coming up, and then we go from there.
Sweet. Mm-hmm. Jack?
On the intramural sports side, on the playing side of things, we basically have sports playing year round. And we have every sport you could think of, plus more you've never heard before. Some sports that we've kind of made our own. In that sense, it's pretty easy to make a team. I think my first 2 weeks here, me and my buddies in my dorm just decided to make a basketball team. And seeing that, just being able to be out there at the rec and seeing all the activity going on, it was a great way to meet new people and really get to experience, kind of be active, get that out of the classroom, kind of like stress reliever. And you don't need any friends to join a team. You can just join as a free agent. You can join with dorm people from your organization. It's really easy. And like I said, there's so many teams out there, so many opportunities. I highly recommend at least coming out to watch a game or two if you're a little uncertain. On the working side, we hire every beginning of new semester, and this is for almost all our sports. And you just come in, take a pre-test, kind of see what sport fits you best. And if you make it on from there, you get interviewed from there. And it's a pretty simple process. And it's really been a great community for me. It's kind of honestly been a big part of my time here at A&M.
Nice. Sweet. So Jack and Emma, both of you obviously are super, super involved, not only within Rec Sports, but also just campus in general. For Rec Sports specifically, what was that aha moment, or like that moment where you're like, man, this is home for me, and this is kind of where I see myself spending my collegiate career with polo and ultimately sport clubs and then intramural sports?
Yeah, so for me, I came into Texas A&M as a freshman, and I think everybody has a similar experience where all of your family and friends are telling you to get involved, do what you can. Doesn't matter what you do, just get involved. Get out of your apartment, get out of your dorm. And so my freshman year, I tried to get involved with a couple of different things. I joined a women's org. I joined a couple of the societies, and I loved them. I loved getting involved. But at the end of the day, it wasn't joining in with my personal life. So it felt very separated. And then once I got involved with polo, I kind of had a moment of, this is a melting pot of so many different personalities and so many different people that I otherwise would not meet. But we all have the passion for horses in common. And it's the same with every sport club. Everyone's there for a purpose, and they're there to compete, to travel together, to learn, to grow together. And for me, it became my personal life. So it wasn't just, okay, I have polo and then I have school. It all became one. And I think a big part of that too is the fact that they're student-run organizations. And so I remember when I first joined the polo club kind of thinking, wow, there's really no adults involved. Like, where are all of the adults? And I talked to one of the officers, and the officer said, we are the adults. Like, we're old enough. We're the adults. Like, we have an advisor, and the rest is kind of up to us. And so for me, it's that having that responsibility of being in a student-run organization, especially one that has so many expenses, such as the polo club, because we are the most expensive club just because we have 22 horses.
Humble brag, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. But it's a little bit of a shameful brag. But so for me, it was really just the responsibility and the leadership that you have. It pushes you further outside of your comfort zone than any of the other organizations that I joined. So that's kind of what it was for me.
I love that. Love that.
For me, I first joined Intramural Sports just to get a job on campus, just to pay the bills.
Yeah.
But after the first 3 weeks, I was like, wow, I'm like actually excited to come to work. Like, I got to meet so many people that I'd never meet anywhere else on campus, including both coworkers and like the players themselves. Mm-hmm. And it really felt like another family I had here at A&M. Being able to just, as much as our work can be stressful and a lot going on all at one time, it really was like a stress reliever. After a long day of class, like, I was really excited to go to work and be able to hang out with some great coworkers, meet some new people, and really experience that. And also being able to have the chance to grow in leadership. Intramural Sports offers a lot of great positions on leadership side of things. So being able to slowly make my way up and, work on my leadership skills that carry over both in the classroom and in future professional endeavors, really kind of have fully encompassing of all things I would really need here at A&M.
Yeah, that's a perfect segue too. So I know, Emma, you had mentioned some skills that you had gotten from the polo side, and Jackie, you just mentioned that. So what is that one skill that you have learned over your career? And what is that one skill that you didn't think that you would learn that you have learned that's now going to project you into a career outside of undergrad, essentially?
So I think for me personally, that's a really good question. And this might sound a little bit cliche, but for the Texas A&M Polo Club, it's been so true. But just getting to work with other people who do not have the exact same views, opinions, personalities as yourself. And I think that's something that, you work on throughout high school when you play team sports. And there's various things throughout your life that help shape you in that way. But being in a leadership role in a sport club, when you have so much responsibility and you're dealing with, for our club, we have 70 club members and 22 horses and all of these expenses and getting things right. There's no time for disagreements.
Yeah.
And so I think really something for me, which it was definitely a learning curve coming into the position, is that no matter what everybody's opinions are, everybody has something valuable to say. And no matter what their background is, like, everyone can add something to the pot. And a lot of that too is just kind of mitigating certain arguments that happen, but which is just part of life. But I think for me personally, my plan after undergrad is law school. And so I know when I'm a lawyer one day, I'm going to have to deal with a lot of different personality types and other lawyers and just people that I work with. And so for me, that's been a really valuable learning curve.
That's awesome, for sure.
For me, I don't want to sound like I'm stealing your answer, but kind of the same background of like working in a very diverse group of people with 14,000 different people out there, being able to communicate and explain things to people that don't really understand or think the same way as you. We are always asked a million different questions about sports, playoffs, this and that, and every person kind of thinks differently. And so being able to understand, like, how can I explain this in a way this person understands and matters to them. And as an engineer in the future, I'll have to be able to explain something highly technical to like a salesperson or someone who doesn't really have the same level of understanding. Yeah. So being able to practice like explaining things on different levels to different people that might not understand it in the way that I think about it, but being able to learn, okay, this person would understand if I asked it like this, and being able to have different levels to it and use that as an engineer, I think would be very helpful.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm looking at my notes here just for some questions. How do you all, obviously both of you are, I keep saying this, but it's crazy to me how involved you all are on campus in Interact Sports. How do you all balance it, being a student, being a full-time student, obviously with majors that are pretty heavy? How do you all manage the time that for polo and intramural sports as well as being a student?
So I think for me personally, being in the leadership role adds a whole new level of just complexity to everything. Mm-hmm. I think that there's people who are involved in sport clubs who maybe they're not in a leadership role and they just compete or they just play or whatever, and it's a lot less of a responsibility. Specifically with the polo club, the way we work, like there's no social points, there's nothing like that. I mean, you pay your dues and then you can come once or you can come 3 times a week. But as far as the leadership role goes, I think that there's a huge advantage to being involved in something that is run through campus. Just because, through the executive committee, they recognize that we're all students. We do our best to accommodate schedules, and sometimes that just doesn't work, and they're okay with that. Also, I think just Texas A&M professors are awesome. I actually emailed one of my professors today about this and missing class, and she was like, "Whoop, that's like a great opportunity. Like, have so much fun." That helps a lot, and especially with traveling, there are a lot of times that we do have to miss class and be able to balance your responsibilities and not get behind in school, because at the end of the day, being in a leadership role is a choice, and you still have the responsibility of balancing that with, if you work outside of school, with your classes, just pretty much everything that you do. And I think for me personally, what has helped is not keeping things separate, which might be the opposite advice is what some people tell you. But every minute of every day I'm using it, whether it's 5 minutes before class starts, I'm going to be on my laptop doing stuff for polo or responding to people for executive committee, or like if I have an hour break in between classes and we have an event that I need to pop by, I'm going to go and do it. And I think really at the end of the day, I don't think being busy is a bad thing. I think that's what a lot of people kind of insinuate, that the busier you are, the more stressed you are, which sure, it does add a degree of stress. But at least for me personally, I like to, be done at the end of the day and be like, I got a lot done. Like I accomplished a lot. I made a difference in this organization. So for me, it's as rewarding as it is stressful.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah, I'd agree with Emma. Being busy is fun for me, honestly. I don't like being bored, sitting around. Like having things to do keeps me motivated, keeps me driven to be successful. And for me, it's my calendar. Just like having everything down in one place, having to see, okay, this is my week. What does it look like? And I guess from there, making a list of priorities, because some things are more important than others. It changes every single week. Sometimes the class is more important one week than the other, depending on quizzes, homework, and tests and stuff like that. So just having like a list of priorities of things I have to get done. And sometimes being able to have to say no to things. As much as I want to say yes to every single thing and do as much as I can, it's kind of hard for me. And something I'm learning this year is to be able to say no to things and understand that, okay, I have to get this done first, then I can go do this other thing. So just knowing what my week looks like, knowing the things I have to get done versus things I could get done later, really helps me keep myself in check. And yeah, just keeping a level head through it all. There's going to be issues, going to be problems out there. Things happen, especially with work. Thankfully, with rec sports, people are very fluctual with their schedules. So people are very willing to pick up a shift if something comes up last second. And it's also very important to, like, if someone else needs help, pick up their shift. It kind of goes both ways. So I think in Intramurals, we've kind of built a great community where everyone's very helpful to each other.
I love that. I love the one piece too about you learning to say no. I think as a student, we struggle with that a lot, to one, learn how to do that, but two, like actively recognize it. I'm older. I'm not a student anymore. I won't disclose my age. I won't disclose my age, but no, it's something that I still struggle with, is to say no to things and really find out how to manage your time wisely. And so as a student, I think that's awesome that we're figuring out how to do that. I
admire you for that, because I'm not 100%. There.
I'm not there even yet, close, but I'm trying. We're all trying.
I can't do it. So have either of you noticed an overlap between kind of what you do either on the polo side or the IM side of what you do on shift or during a match or anything like that, that coincides with what we're learning in the classroom, either in, your majors or kind of a future career?
I would say, for me, my major is sociology, so it's a lot of human-based things, and my sport is a lot of club-based things. But there have been a couple of interesting, like, we'll study certain phenomenons that people do, and I'll kind of see that reflected within the officer team. I see a lot of, it's a little bit hard to explain without using sociological terms, but there are just certain trends and certain things that we study about why humans are the way they are in groups and certain things like that that are reflected in the sport club.
Nice.
I would say working on a team, especially with people that are both older and younger than you. When I was here first, there was people that are younger than me that were my supervisor telling me what to do. And now I'm a younger supervisor instructing others what to do. And so it kind of carries over into a lot of group project stuff. There's always someone in a group project that's a little more difficult to work with or unwilling to, do their part. So having that experience in rec sports of working with the team, dealing with conflict management, and especially, peer-to-peer conflict management, where no one wants to be the guy that's yelling at you or, making you do things because we're all students, we're all in this together. Yeah. But, at the end of the day, like if you know what has to get done, it's important to be able to communicate that in a way that doesn't, rub someone the wrong way, but also make sure that things get done at the end of the day.
Yeah. That's awesome. Are you seeing any phenomenons here with the three of us?
Honestly, I haven't seen any yet, but I'm going to keep an eye out.
Keep an eye on it.
Please do. I want to hear some of these jargon terms.
That is awesome.
Perfect. Awesome.
What's a favorite memory that either of you have in your programs or your sports?
Oh, I'll share one. Okay.
Please.
So when I came into the polo club, about 2 months into the club, they held officer elections. And I was up on my high horse and I was like, I'm going to run and I'm going to do a great job. I wanted to give back to the club because I loved it and I had met all of my best friends through the club. And so I ended up running and I became a horse care officer. And this was my sophomore year, so over the last year. And horse care is a very time-consuming officer position. It's 40 hours in person at the barn a week. It's a lot. Yeah. And there's a lot of mental strain, but at the same time, it's very rewarding. And I actually ran horse care with my two best friends who I met through the club, and they're actually now my roommates. Nice. So it was always the three of us, and we'd go up there. And one of my favorite memories to this day, and people are like, how is that a favorite for you? We went up to the barn. We spent 12 hours straight at the barn fixing the corner feeders in our stalls. And it was just the three of us cutting wood, putting up corner feeders, like the most simple day. But for some reason, that's always stuck out as like, it was kind of an aha moment for us of like, we're getting through this because we're all best friends and like we're giving back to the club. And I think it was kind of a turning point for us to when we really started to enjoy the position.
Yeah. Well, and it's also 2 months in too. So it's almost that aha moment of like, man, this is fun. I'm going to keep doing this.
Right.
With officer elections coming up and all of that. So
absolutely.
I love that.
Yes.
Cool.
For me, I say I have two. As a player, last semester I won a battleship championship, my first ever intramural championship. So I got the shirt now, brought home the glory. So that was a big moment there. And I say working at the rec, I'd say Rec Palooza recently. Yeah. It's kind of a big event we put on for, I guess, freshmen and any students to come in and kind of get a taste of what rec sports really is and intramural sports specifically. And being able to work that with a lot of my good friends that are coworkers and experience that was a lot of fun. But also just seeing the freshmen, how like interested they were in rec sports, intramural sports, and them asking all these questions. Oh, how do I join a team? How do I work for the rec? How do I do this, do that? Like just seeing their enthusiasm, it really was like, this is why we do it. Showing why they want to be here and giving them like, a lot of them are new here. They don't know anybody at the school. So it's a huge school. So playing intramural sports, working at the rec is a way to make this huge school feel a little bit smaller. And again, find that family. So kind of seeing that in person, seeing that interest in these freshmen, giving them that chance to find an outlet was really rewarding.
That's awesome. Congrats on winning a champ shirt because those are like highly coveted. The goal for every student here should be to win a champ shirt before they graduate. So congrats on getting one early in your career.
More to come, hopefully.
That's awesome. Explain to the people what battleship is because that's not a traditional Major 5 sport.
Battleship's fun. I was actually working it last night. So basically, it's in one of our pools at the rec. There's 5 canoes, and inside these 5 canoes, there's 4 people with either buckets or shields, and 1 navigator swimming with the canoes. And the end goal is to sink other ships. So you have your 4 buckets. When the whistle blows, your navigator pushes you around, and you're just hucking water into other canoes. And there's a lot of tactics going on. There's a lot of strategy. People try and team. People try and find the perfect combination of shield to bucket ratio. It's honestly pretty intense how much planning goes into it. Yeah. And at the end of the day, when there's final two teams, it's like a one-on-one, boat to boat, just water versus water, and it gets really intense. I've seen some pretty crazy things happen in that pool, but it's a really fun sport. Again, one of those like kind of sports you wouldn't expect us to have, but it's really interesting and really fun. One of our most popular, so I highly recommend checking out Battleship if you don't have it yet.
That's awesome. Yeah, the good thing is we play in the indoor lap pool, so it's only like 4.5 feet deep, so there's not a big dive to the bottom.
Yeah,
to
you
get
can
the
still
canoe
stand
up.
if you need to, so it's not too bad.
I love that. Cool. Both of you, talk to me about a moment that you realized that you were ready to be a leader in your program. Obviously for Jack, for applying to be a supervisor and getting that supervisor position. And then Emma, for you getting onto the exec board and being the president. Like, what was that moment for you of like, okay, I think I'm ready for this, and kind of walk us through that process?
Yeah, so mine looked a little bit different for the Polo Club and the executive committee.
Yeah.
For the Polo Club, obviously, like I said, I was a horse care officer the year prior to being the president. And for me, the moment where I kind of stepped into the idea of, okay, I think that I could lead the club and be the president was when we won the national championship.
Yeah.
I mean, we went to Dallas for a week. It was in Dallas this year. Normally it's in Virginia, and we took 14 horses. So as a horse care officer, I was in charge of the horses down there. I went down, we stayed with the horses. We were fully in charge of their care, leasing them, getting them ready for games. And I mean, it was so much work, and so many hours went into the team practicing, the horses getting ready, just everyone preparing for this game. And so when both of our teams made it to the finals, you know, it was super exciting for everybody involved. And then them winning the championship and just all of that hard work paying off. And then in addition to that, one of our men's team horses won Best Playing Pony, which is a huge, huge honor, especially at an intercollegiate championship game. And so for myself and the other horse care girls, we were kind of like, we really did have a hand in this. You know, this was really rewarding because, you know, polo is a different sport. The students are not the only athletes. The horses are the athletes too. And so a big win like that on our horses was a reflection of the hard work we had put in. And I think I kind of had gotten to a point where I had seen so much, and I had seen the work ethic that was needed to take the club to the next step. And so that for me was kind of like, okay, I think I can do this. And then also at the national championship, after we won, the team players, several of them had said to me, you know, you need to be the president next year. Our men's team captain, actually, Zach, we go way back, but he said to me, he was like, you're going to be the president next year. And so then for the executive committee, they sent out basically an email to all of the officers in the sport clubs, and they were like, we need people to be on the executive committee, submit your applications. And for me, the reason that I applied and what I had said in my application interview video was, I had gotten so much out of rec sports and out of the polo club. And I mean, I met all of my best friends. All of my fulfillment truly in my undergraduate degree has been come out of polo, and just my ability to be involved in that club. And so I joined the executive committee as a way to give back, just because, I mean, I knew that it was going to be more work with the sport clubs, and I love the sport clubs. I love polo. I've met so many other people that are in various other sport clubs, and I've never met somebody that I don't get along with. And so for me, the executive committee was just okay, at this point, I knew I was going to be the president of the polo club, and I was ready to step up and, you know, kind of help the sport clubs as a whole.
Nice.
I'd say for me, the supervisor role, their job is, I guess, to kind of build the culture of the referees. Like, they're the ones, boots on the ground, making sure things are going smoothly, evaluating official performance, making sure overall game management is going smoothly, the games, the cleanup, the process, all that. They're kind of just making sure the whole process is going smoothly. So over time, being an official, you know, hearing evaluations from official supervisors, and at one point being able to pick up on these small things and almost kind of evaluate myself and realize what was going on and be able to actually make actionable steps to improve myself. And also, you know, staying later to help out supervisors, clean up, tear down, put things away, kind of picking up on the smaller things that they do that to them is just kind of second knowledge, being able to learn that myself. And then also just realizing how much of an impact they had on me, like as a rookie official, knowing that, like, oh, I started doing this because of this one supervisor, and oh, I did this because of that, and just really feeling the impact they had on me. It was something that, like, okay, I want to do this. I want to be able to, again, kind of build that culture and kind of motivate and supervise the next level of officials. That really was kind of an aha moment for me, where I was like, okay, I can do this. I know this is something that I want to do, and it's something that I was really looking forward to, and I was very excited when I got that chance to do that.
Nice. Yeah, you. My next question, you kind of just answered this a little bit, Jack, but for Emma, what does a day in the life look like for one, a polo president, but then also exec club president? Like, what does that look like on a day-to-day basis? Because you're a student taking 12, 15, 16, 17 hours. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot of work, but it's definitely worth it. For me, I have a great officer team. My officer team, fantastic. We have 9 total officers, and we are able to divide it to where there are certain people that have certain responsibilities, and I mean all of them. I'm able to delegate things. You know, if I have something coming up or I'm working on something else for the club, I'm able to say, hey, can you take this over? Hey, will you do this? And people are great. I mean, it's a lot of that. It's a lot of safety management. It's a lot of the paperwork, that kind of stuff. And also trying to keep the officers motivated and try to keep the club members involved and just, you know, the organization as a whole. It's just keeping things running, you know, and making sure that things are on the right track. For the executive committee, it's a lot more relaxed.
Yeah.
So for the executive committee, we mainly focus on like bigger events. So like Recapalooza, we worked that. We recently did the sport club seminar. Yep. So like the can drive, we'll run that. But a lot of that is just we meet with Kaylee and Keith and we kind of go over what needs to be done. I try to reach out to the other sport clubs and kind of be familiar with them so that if they have something come up in their own club, they can come to me and be like, hey, this came up. Can you talk to whoever for us? So it's a lot of kind of playing the middleman, just making sure that things are going correctly, and just making sure that the rec events that the sport clubs are being represented and taken care of there. So it's a lot more relaxed because they know we're students. And so we get a little bit more leeway, but it's a lot so
Yeah. To be clear, KJ also rolls his eyes when I email him too.
Oh,
so
perfect.
don't feel outed by that.
Okay.
That happens as well for me. So cool. Jack, what about you?
Well, most importantly, first of all, is getting your homework done before the shift, because I work a lot of later shifts, which go from 8:30 to midnight. So if you get homework due like at midnight that night, you're got to get it done before 8:30 or it's going to be late. So making sure that's done first. And then also like, when you get on shift, I guess an important thing is to check who's playing those games, because a lot of our teams are very well known for both good and bad reasons.
Yeah.
You know, they all play very much all the same sports every semester. So knowing what games are going to be played and what officials to put where, because every official kind of has strengths and weaknesses. So knowing the right personnel to put on the right places is very important. Then on the shift, just making sure that things are going smoothly. You're in charge of everything happening in front of you. So being able to handle multiple things at once. You got an injury on one side of the court and other side of the court, someone's asking a question about a rule that is kind of misinterpreted. So being able to delegate your surroundings and your resources. One cool thing about being a soccer supervisor is that you're also a site manager. Yep. So a site manager is kind of a jack of all trades, place that any sport or facility for intramurals that is kind of the second-hand helper for that supervisor. So tonight I'm working as a football site manager. So I'll be over at Pembroke North working alongside the football supervisors, assisting them in anything they need. So mostly injuries, getting people checked in, getting the fields managed, because I'm not really the most knowledgeable on the football sport itself because I'm not a supervisor there. But it's a really great opportunity to meet new people, kind of engage in new sports, and kind of see a different side of intramural sports. So it's a really great opportunity to really kind of be interconnected past your own sport.
Nice. I love that. All right. So last question here for both of you, obviously a little older in our collegiate careers. What is one advice that you'd give to somebody coming in to A&M, but also into rec sports? Just some advice. What does it look like?
I would say this is kind of reflecting on the cliche advice that I got coming into college, but the whole aspect of getting involved is so important. And I don't think that has to look like how you expect it to look. I think I would encourage everybody to go on rec sports. I'm a little biased, obviously, but go on rec sports, go to the sport clubs. We have 40 different clubs. And I mean, there is something for everyone. We have, if there's something you want to do and it's not on there, come talk to us. Like, we'll figure out a way to get it started, just because I think that the community that you gain from the sport clubs, and it's so valuable. It's so valuable. And the skills you're going to learn, the community, just getting involved. I wish I would have gotten involved my freshman year with it, because I feel like I've lost a year. But I mean, it was the best decision I ever made. And I don't think that you can go wrong, especially something that's keeping you active and healthy, and you're living a good lifestyle, and you're sharing the passion, something you're passionate about with others. I mean, there's nothing bad that's going to come out of that.
Right. I love that.
Yeah, so Emma kind of stole my idea of getting involved. It's great advice. But I'd say once you do get involved, it's important to use your resources and your connections. College is tough. It's not easy for anybody, and no one can do it alone. So don't be afraid to ask for help, whether it's from a friend, a professor, a rec sports official, anybody. all Aggies here, like we have it's kind of cliche, kind of corny, but like the Aggie spirit is like, it's a real thing. Like it's a true thing. You can really feel the difference. All Aggies truly want to help other Aggies. So don't be afraid to use resources. They're there for a reason. Go to office hours, get help in your classes, ask your friend for, advice on life or anything. Ask even like random, I guess Colin, I could ask Colin almost anything.
Almost anything.
Whether it's for rec sports or something completely different, personal life. People want to help you. So don't be afraid to ask for help and use your resources once you get those places and connections.
Awesome. Well, Emma and Jack, thank you all so much for sitting down with us today. Again, this is On Air with Student Affairs and Rec Sports Edition. So thank you all so much, and peace out.